It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in to another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen flying solo this afternoon here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, streaming on 1069thefan.com and the 1069 The Fan mobile app. And the reason I'm flying solo today, it's for good reason. Jason Walker is off doing good things. He's off and he's down in in Utah County. Not Utah County, Salt Lake County, and he's down to call the 4A boys soccer semifinal matchup between Ridgeline and Dixie, which his broadcast just got started on our sister station 104.5 The Ranch. So for fans of Ridgeline soccer, this is the probably one of the few times where I might invite you to change the channel to go somewhere else. Now, if you want to, or if you're a fan generally of Ridgeline Athletics, then it'll be on 104.5. He just started that broadcast. Game hasn't quite started just yet. It was originally scheduled for 3:45, but the two games happening at Zions Bank Stadium before this game both went into extra time. One of the games earlier went into an extended shootout. So they're way behind schedule so far today. The game that just happened before them also went into overtime. So the game has not started yet, but Jason has started his pregame coverage. And a few things about this game, and we'll do some look-ins as we go on the broadcast here, just kind of see how things are going. One of the rare opportunities where we can do kind of a live look-in at what's going on with high school sports. But this is an interesting matchup. Ridgeline comes in at number 6 in the RPI standings. Dixie at number 3. Dixie 15-2 on the season, so very formidable team. 71 goals scored, only 19 goals allowed. Ridgeline, their record 14-3, not too shabby themselves, but not as prolific in the goal scoring. Only scored 57 goals on the year, but similarly pretty stout on defense. They only gave up 15, so could be an interesting defensive battle. Two teams both pretty solid at limiting scoring opportunities. So we'll see how this goes. Again, Ridgeline is number 6 in the standings. Dixie is, number 2. And so the game that happened before was Crimson Cliffs and Mountain View, which I had mentioned went into extra time. And now I don't quite know who actually won that game. So I'll double check on that because not sure. It's looking like it was Crimson Cliffs that won in overtime. So Crimson Cliffs, they did win. Mountain View pushed them into overtime, though. Mountain View was a number 8 seeded team. But Ridgeline trying to hang in there, so it's not going to be an All-Southern Utah championship. But the semifinals are going on at Zions Bank Stadium. That's in Harriman. And so Ridgeline trying to join Crimson Cliffs in the championship game, which will take place on Thursday at America First Field. That's where Real Salt Lake plays. That'll be Thursday at 1:00. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one and see what happens here, and hoping that Ridgeline is able to keep their season alive and try to compete for the state championship in boys soccer. Now, that's not the only Region 11 team in action today. Later on this evening, it's going to be Bear River taking on Provo in the girls lacrosse semifinals. This is going to be taking place at Westminster College. at 6 o'clock. Bear River has just been phenomenal this season for girls lacrosse. They've not lost. I think they've lost over 50 games straight. Something like that is their incredible streak that they've had. This year, they've got 20 wins, no losses, 405 goals scored, only 52 given up. Whereas Provo, they're 16-3. They've scored 302, given up 127. Bear River should be heavily favored in this one. So that will be later on this evening. That starts at 6 o'clock. Yeah, seeing how well Ridgeline does today for boys soccer. And then we'll see how Bear River does later on this evening. And tomorrow, boys lacrosse semifinals, that gets underway at noon. Number 3, Bear River taking on number 2, Judge Memorial also at Westminster. So number of local teams still in it, still involved, and trying to continue their seasons and continue their run and chase for a state title. So that's what's going on with our local high schools in the playoffs. Reminder, if you want to chime in on any of the topics that we've got today, 435-339-0321. We'll be going over some Utah State football additions, some more or another football transfer for Utah State made official today. Who was that and how could he help this football team? DraftKings recently came out with the predicted win totals for Mountain West football teams. And so what are they and what are they saying about the Utah State Aggies? How many wins do they think the Aggies will get? And do you think the Aggies will outperform that prediction or underperform with that prediction? And then, of course, we'll get into the NBA finals or the conference finals that are getting underway tonight. And the all-rookie team announced today. A couple of Jazz players getting votes, but did they get enough to make the all-rookie team? So it's a couple of the topics today on the docket, 435-339-0321. And, of course, we will do some check-ins to see how things are going with Ridgeline versus Dixie in the 4A boys soccer semifinals. So 9315 checking in. Where's the deflator? He's good to cover, I would think. I don't know where the deflator is, but so let's look into this. The first topic, these DraftKings win totals that came out today, and looking at what they think of the Utah State Aggies. What do they think about the other teams throughout the Mountain West Conference? I don't think it would come to anybody's surprise to find Boise State atop the rankings here, or at least the list, with the total predicted wins. And they've got the Broncos at 9.5 wins, which, yeah, there's no Ashton Genty. There is a little bit of who's coming back offensively to move things forward. The quarterback is back, and but they do have some weapons. Defensively, they're always pretty stout. But 9.5, that's probably about right. I'd probably guess that they would. My hunch would be that they would probably exceed that number. But from there, then there's the other team that's been really pretty solid these last few years, and that's UNLV. They've got the Rebels at 8.5 wins coming into this next season. San Jose State at 7.5. Ken Nuimatalolo at the helm there. Thought he did a pretty solid job last year, trying to continue some momentum. Coach Brennan was able to actually get some successful football happening in San Jose. Can Nuimatalolo keep that going? Can they become more consistently relevant in the Mountain West? And then there's a group of teams sitting at 6.5 wins. Fresno State, Colorado State, and Hawaii. And so Fresno State, that's an interesting one. They've normally been pretty good. They've normally been pretty solid. They sometimes dip a little bit, but so there can be some questions with the Bulldogs with their coaching situation. But that's one where I feel like that's probably a little low for for Fresno State. Colorado State, that's probably about right, about where I would predict the Rams would be. Right there around 6 wins. But Hawaii, and that's another one that's kind of hard to predict because they kind of go up and down with what's going on with their football program. Wyoming at 5.5, Air Force at 5.5. And, Coach Jay Sawvell had a rough year last year, really trying to turn some things around, changing his style a little bit. Of course, that's what he says. I don't know if I totally believe that, but Air Force definitely had a down year last year. That's uncharacteristic for them to have multiple down years in a row. I would predict Air Force would exceed the 5.5. Wyoming, I don't know. That one's a little bit hard to know because there was some players who left the Cowboys. Not sure if Sawvell really is the right guy yet for Wyoming. But as we've gone through this list, we haven't gotten to the Aggies yet. So teams that could be bowl eligible, Hawaii, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Jose State, UNLV, and Boise. Air Force and Wyoming knocking on the door, but maybe not going to be there. And then 2 teams, actually 3 teams, being predicted to win 4.5 games: Nevada, San Diego State, and finally here we find Utah State. And then just to round it out is New Mexico at 3.5. So 4.5 wins for the Utah State Aggies. That's what DraftKings is trying to predict for USU. Would you take the over on that? Will Utah State exceed those preseason expectations? Or will they underperform? Will they not quite hit that? Last year they only won 4 games. They were 4-8 in 2024. A lot of distractions, a lot of concerns, a lot of on-field and off-field stuff that the team was trying to figure out. But it was a team good enough to win 6 games, but faltered and only were able to secure 4. Then there was some off-season attrition on this team. This coaching staff is trying to remake the roster, try to change who they wanted in the December early signing period. And they've been trying to remake the roster again here in the spring. And so is this team going to be good enough to exceed 4.5 wins? 435-339-0321. For those of you who want to chime in, and is that 4.5? Is that too high? Is that too low? Give me your thoughts on that. 9315. Worst case scenario is 6 for USU. Just getting rid of this stupid penalty issue Utah State had. He's lucky. It has 6 wins. Get rid of dumb penalties on USU, and Utah State could make 6 wins. No problem. Oh, sorry. Correcting the error there. Yeah, there were dumb penalties last year, and they were in position to do better than they did. I think that Coach Dreiling didn't take Temple seriously enough. That should have been a win. But a couple of things got away from them earlier in the year. But the New Mexico game got away from them. That should have been a win. But 4.5 wins, that seems low to me. But not by too much. And that's, again, we talked about this at length yesterday. We're all at a disadvantage of not really knowing what this team is going to be like this year because we didn't get to see them in practices. We didn't get to see a scrimmage. And we're just very limited in what we know about this football team, and hope to learn a lot here in the summer as they prepare for the fall camp and kick off the fall season. But 4.5 wins is a prediction from DraftKings for Utah State. But as I take a quick glance at the schedule, I saw these predicted win totals come out, these win total lines for Mountain West teams. And I just looked at the schedule for Utah State, and just a quick glance here. I see 5 wins, but some of those are going to be tough. They maybe could get to 6, but it's going to be a real challenge. They're going to have to punch above their weight a little bit. But the possible wins, well, there's a few that I feel pretty good about. There's a few that there's no way they're going to get that win, I don't think. And then there's a few that it could go either way. I think they can beat UTEP. I think they can beat McNeese. And I think they can beat Nevada and New Mexico. I've also given a W to Hawaii. That game is at Hawaii, so that's going to be the challenge of that one. And Hawaii is kind of an improving team to some degree. Air Force, I've given the Aggies a loss there, but that's one that could swing the other way. But the Aggies also have to go to Texas A&M. They also have to play at Vanderbilt. They have to go to UNLV and Fresno. They host Boise. But those are going to, I think, going to be hard to get wins. They host San Jose. That's a maybe, but I swung towards a loss on that one, just when considering what's happening there. And Ken Nuimatalolo just has one extra year under his belt there with the Spartans and helping them become a little bit more stable and improving as a football team. So I've got the Aggies at 5 wins right now. I could see them maybe getting to 6, but they very easily could go to 4. But not too far off with this win predicted line from DraftKings at 4.5 for Utah State. So your thoughts on that? Where would you put the Aggies in their upcoming season with the win total? How many wins could Utah State get? And looking at some of the other teams in the Mountain West, are their win totals too high or too low? 435-339-0321 on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line. 9315, another text. New Mountain West coaches, which there's a lot. There's a lot of games up in the air. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, you consider first or second years in these new destinations, these different institutions, coaches that have been there, this will be their first year, or coaches just coming into their second year. My gosh, there's a bunch. Just conference teams here, San Jose, New Mexico, Nevada, UNLV, kind of Boise, kind of Fresno, but you look at the chunk of the teams in conference that they play. Most of those coaches are pretty new at their place. Air Force is the big exception there with Coach Calhoun, Coach Howdy Doody, been there a very long time. So without knowing really the coaching situation at this moment with McNeese or UTEP, hard for me to say how that might go, but yeah, there's a lot of coaches with not a lot of experience in the Mountain West coming into the 2025 football season. Before we take a quick timeout here on the Full Court Press, let's do a quick look in. This game should be getting started now. It's the number 6 Ridgeline Riverhawks taking on number 2 Dixie in the boys 4A state soccer semifinals being played down at Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman. Our good friend Jason Walker on the call.
Sideline trying another cross, and it's poked out of bounds by Dylan Jones of the Riverhawks. He managed to get that one away from Melvin Contreras, who's been pretty productive on the wing himself this season for the Flyers. 8 goals and 6 assists. Throw in on this near sideline. And ball ends up going out of bounds. Dixie trying to draw a foul there. There's a bit of contact, but the referee not buying it, saying it was incidental. Ridgeline gets the throw in, trying to move it up on the near sideline. But
so that's going on live right now. It's Ridgeline versus Dixie in the 4A boys soccer semifinals. You can hear that game being broadcast on our sister station, 104.5 The Ranch. Also details on how to listen on CashValleyDaily.com. Before we hit a quick timeout, another text here on our Young Power Sports of Logan text line from 5338. I'm with you, Eric, on the Aggie win total, unfortunately. I'm just glad that Temple is not on the schedule this year. Yeah, me too. Me too. That was a rough one. Tough to travel all that way against one of the worst teams in college football the last several years and make them look like they were an amazing college football playoff team, the way that the Aggies let them run roughshod over them. But You got to take every opponent seriously and prepare as if they are the best team that you will face all year. And I think that was one that was a good learning experience for a young and somewhat inexperienced coaching staff having to call their own shots. But this year, definitely different experience. Very experienced coaching staff, and won't be making those same mistakes. And if it'll be interesting to monitor how this team goes this season with Coach Mendenhall. If you look at what happened last year at New Mexico, start of the season, they looked very much a mess. Like they were not really all together. As the season went on, they got increasingly better, more competitive. They started winning games that you wouldn't expect them to win. Well, it's a similar pattern roll out for Utah State. Now, schedule-wise, it'll be tough to see that happen. The last 3 games, at UNLV, at Fresno versus Boise. So it might be a little bit tough to see the Aggies hit on that upswing like New Mexico did, but you want to see progress and be competitive and continue to build a program here. So definitely worth paying attention to and worth watching. But love to get any of your additional thoughts here on this win total predictions for Utah State and the rest of the Mountain West. Quick timeout. It's a lot more to get into. Utah State football announcing some transfers, making it official today. We'll introduce you to who they are and how they might impact Utah State football this upcoming season. Next, here on the Full Court Press.
This is Brent Wallace with Cache Valley Bank, and we understand that concerns about fraud can weigh heavily on you. Your peace of mind is important to us. That's why we're committed to looking out for you and your family. Our team keeps a vigilant eye on your account, and if you ever have concerns or need support, we're just a call or visit away. Whether you need advice or just someone to talk to, our friendly staff is ready to help. We're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors, and we care about your security. Visit your local branch today. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Express Tire, tires for less. In and out with zero stress. Express Tire, tires for less. In and out with zero stress.
Any brand, any size.
The Sportsman on Main Street is loaded with great clothing, shoes, and equipment. This is Mark inviting you to come in and check out our awesome store. For 71 years, we have outfitted you, whether you are going on the trail or to the theater. Trust me, you won't see yourself coming and going as we work hard to have some of the most unique clothing and shoes you will see anywhere. If it's a bike, skis, or unique clothing and shoes, I promise we will take care of you only at the Sportsman on Main Street in historic downtown Logan with tons of free parking in the back.
Les Olson IT is your source for top quality technology. We carry the latest desktop and laptop PCs in stock, configured to your specific needs, and backed by our award-winning support team. And if your business demands high-performance hardware, we offer custom-built computers that can tackle any task. We also offer great computer accessories like monitors, keyboards, speakers, Fujitsu document scanners, and more. Get a quote today.
Les Olson IT.
A diamond is forever and is perfect to represent your love. For those special occasions, give her a natural, one-of-a-kind diamond as unique as she is. Our exclusive brand, Nita Brilliant Diamonds, is both beautiful and affordable with quarter-carat diamonds starting at $499. We have hundreds of sparkling diamonds at our integrity price guarantee with financing available. An investment for generations to come, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
The Aggies are #1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen Jason Walker is in Harriman at Zions Bank Stadium. He's there calling the 4A boys soccer semifinal matchup between Ridgeline and Dixie. And that game was significantly delayed because of overtimes, shootouts, or games earlier in the day. But that game is underway. It's in the first half. It was supposed to start at 3:45. It really didn't get started until closer to like 4:15. It was definitely later than anticipated, but it's underway now. And if you want to tune in and check that out, it's on 104.5 The Ranch, and you can get more details on CashValleyDaily.com for how to listen to that game if you're outside of that radio broadcast area. But Utah State football, we were talking about them earlier. The DraftKings came out with predicted win totals for the Mountain West, various teams throughout all the teams in the Mountain West Conference. Boise State on the high end with 9.5. New Mexico on the low end with 3.5. Utah State not far behind, joining San Diego State and Nevada at 4.5 wins. So will the Aggies do better than that? Is that about right? Would you go a little bit lower? And as I'm looking at the schedule, again, not a ton of research here, but my first instinct is to take the over, but not by much. I've got the Aggies with 5 wins, mostly because of who they play, where they play, but also there's just so many unknowns about this Utah State football team. How solid is the quarterback situation going to be with receivers and protection? What's the running back situation going to look like offensively? So some significant questions on offense, but even bigger questions on defense. Is there going to be defensive line that's going to really get any kind of pressure? Would there be a linebacker core that can be quick to the ball and bring guys down? And the secondary, will it make it tough to throw into coverage? Seems like in this spring transfer window time, this opportunity to adjust the roster, Utah State's been mostly focusing on defensive players. A number of guys in the secondary, a number of guys on the defensive front. Though the other day, and we appreciate the text line for letting us know about it, but Utah State did add a wide receiver. A little bit more details on that, but Carlos Gillespie, it was officially announced today by Utah State, but he's a wide receiver, 6'3", 200 pounds from Illinois. He redshirted last year, never played for the Illini, but he redshirted last year, so he's a freshman. He's got redshirt freshman with 4 years of eligibility. Great size, great metrics. He was coming out of high school. He was ranked the 114th wide receiver overall in the country. So nice prospect coming out of Illinois. His hometown is in Tennessee, Etowah, Tennessee. So the metrics look nice. Looked like he was a nice wide receiver out of high school, but not sure how he works in a Utah State offensive system. Not sure how what his talent level looks like and how he helps, but that's the right size that you'd want from a wide receiver, and I think that helps add depth and competition in the wide receiver room for Utah State. So, on paper it looks nice, but still questions because we just don't know. There's just not much of a track record there yet. But then also Utah State today announcing another defensive lineman. This one, and don't kill me if I mispronounce the name, Nuuletu Selison, or Nuuletau Selison. Anyway, he's a 6'1", 285 pound defensive lineman. He's a senior. He transferred from BYU. Originally, with high school at Woods Cross, initially went to Weber State, kind of a quiet freshman year, had an impactful sophomore year, then transfers to BYU. When he was at Weber State, he had 24 tackles and 6 sacks, transfers to BYU, but really doesn't see any action. I'm not sure if he had an injury, but he only had 8 defensive snaps. No stats at all in 2024. Really only played in 1 game in 2023. So he's been a bit removed from significant action. But Utah State does need some depth on the defensive line, and we'll see how that how he competes for an opportunity with other guys that are there. Utah State's been trying to get and bring in other guys to bolster that defensive front, and Selison is just one more that's going to be in the mix to try to battle for some opportunity and some time. Maybe a little bit small, maybe a little bit undersized, but we'll see how well he competes and works for an opportunity there at Utah State after spending some time at BYU. Followed Coach Hill from Weber State and to Provo, but just didn't really seem to catch on. Never saw really much action there in a BYU uniform. 435-339-0321 on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line, 9315, asking how accurate has DraftKings been with their predictions. Can't tell you. I'm not sure what their predictions were for last year. I probably could go find that if I had the time, but I don't know. It's a good question. Normally, the thing to remember with these things is when people publish lines, when betting organizations publish lines like this, what they're, to some degree, they're trying to predict what could happen. But more than anything, they're trying to encourage people to place their money, to say, no way, they're going to be more than that. Or that's so dumb, they'll perform below that. So they're really trying to encourage action with those lines and activity in the betting sphere. So sometimes it's pretty crazy how accurate they can become, but other times they're just trying to get some people into the game, so to speak. But for Utah State, I look at that line and I think that's probably not that far off. And for some of these other schools, I similarly think they're probably pretty close. But I think that San Diego State's probably right there. Nevada, New Mexico, all those teams on the bottom end are probably about where I'd put them. I think Air Force will do better. Wyoming's maybe about where they could be, or maybe a little, that might be a bit high, maybe a full win ahead of where they could end up. Colorado State, Fresno State, I think the Rams might be a little bit lower. Fresno State might be a little bit higher, but I don't know. It's interesting how they put this together, and it's pretty crazy how close sometimes these organizations can be. But 4.5 wins predicted for Utah State. And the Aggies still trying to firm up their roster. 2 players announced officially today. Nuolatu Selison, 6'1", 285-pound defensive lineman, transfer from BYU. And then Carlos Orr Gillespie, 6'3", 200-pound wide receiver, transfer from Illinois. A lot more years of eligibility for Orr Gillespie. Selison only has the 1 year of eligibility, but hasn't been able to do a whole lot these last 2 seasons of football. So now with these additions, boy, I think they've got to be pretty close to being at where they need to be with their roster as far as numbers. But there's probably room for a few more, but they're probably getting pretty close to what type of availability they had and how many holes they needed to fill based on players who left in this spring. Let's quickly just do another check-in with Jason Walker. The Ridgeline Riverhawks taking on the Dixie Flyers, the 4A boys soccer semifinals at the Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman.
Forward. Ridgeline getting the first clean touch on it, but it ends up pinballing all the way back to Dixie. Trying to send a long ball up to the attackers, but Ridgeline too good for it. Pirtle once again winning the ball, now going on another run, trying to set up a through ball. He'll send one through, and it's not going to be enough, just a little too far off, trying to find Ethan Howes. Oh, Howes does win the ball. He gets it on the end line. Nearly a one-man show there. Forces a clear, and I believe it'll be a corner. It'll be a throw. No, it'll be a throw.
All right, so that's what's going on right now in the 4A boys soccer semifinals at Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman Ridgeline. The number 6 seeded team in the boys soccer playoffs taking on Dixie, the number 2 seeded team in the boys soccer playoffs. And the winner will face Crimson Cliffs, who's number 4 in the seeding. So a lot of these top seeds have lost. So maybe that good luck can continue, and that trend will continue today. If so, Ridgeline should like their odds based on how everything else has been going with this tournament. But earlier today, Crimson Cliffs did beat Mountain View, went into extra time. They did get a golden goal about 4 minutes into overtime and to advance. But Ridgeline trying to hang on and continue their season as well. And then later on tonight, it's going to be Bear River taking on Provo in the girls lacrosse semifinal. That's going to be at Westminster University. Timeout here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, a look at the All-NBA rookie team and looking at the NBA Conference Finals, which get underway tonight. And a couple of Jazz players getting some votes. Did they land on either one of the teams? And just kind of how do they compare with some of the other players who did make it? We'll discuss that next here on the Full Court Press.
This Memorial Day weekend, Daryl's Appliance has the best prices for you. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. For a limited time only, enjoy extra savings with our exclusive mail-in rebates on Maytag, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, Cafe Speed Queen, and more. Why buy from Daryl's? Because we have 55 years of experience giving you the best service and prices. Save big this Memorial Day at Daryl's Appliance, located west on Airport Road. Visit us today and experience the Daryl's difference.
Do you have a fireplace or stove that isn't working right? Why wait until next winter to get it fixed? Get ahead of the game and get your fireplace or stove serviced now by Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They service everything from Quadra-Fire pellet stoves to heat and glow fireplaces. Get a 20% discount on your next service and labor when you mention this ad. Call 752-7272 or go to advancedfireplaceandstove.com. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, where comfort is their business.
Hi, this is Ashley with LSS Insurance. Medicare can seem complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Let us help. We'll answer all your questions and get you specific information that fits your needs. Medicare is not one size fits all. We'll help you find the right coverage for you. Call 752-9493. You can ignore the TV and the junk mail. We'll get you the exact information you need. We will help you access the benefits that are important to you. Call LSS Insurance at 752-9493.
Spring. It's time to get those old rusted vehicles moved. Call DD Auto and Salvage and get paid for moving that old rusted out junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it easy and fast, paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204 today. See store for details.
Ladies, do you have your men's ring yet? We know that he got you the perfect ring, so let's get him one that will show how much you care, such as a one-of-a-kind Damascus steel, his choice of camel, or an exquisite redwood inlay. And if you really want something out of this world, come check out our meteorite rings. For the largest selection of unique men's rings, make it special, make it Jarek's at 930 North Main in Logan.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Life is good. Life at My Mattress is good too. Why might I say that? Because today is a good day to slay a Goliath. The other day I went into a mattress store here in Logan that has 2,500 stores across the country. I'd say that's a Goliath. We were 20% less expensive on every bed that we both offer. We may not have 2,500 stores, but we are number one in Cache Valley. Better product and better prices. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Reminder about Young Power Sports of Logan. They sponsor our text line. They also have an incredible brand new service center. You can handle any make, any model, 100% of the time. They've got the tools, they've got the experience to keep your ride in peak condition. Just Google Young Power Sports Logan, and you'll find Cache Valley's premier power sports service department. No score yet. It's still 0-0 between Ridgeline and Dixie in the 4A boys soccer semifinals. Jason Walker on the play-by-play on our sister station 104.5 The Ranch. Details about how to listen to that game also available on CacheValleyDaily.com. We were talking about the Utah State Aggies football team. DraftKings put together their predicted win totals for the Mountain West. Boise State at 9.5 on the high end. New Mexico at 3.5 on the low end. And Utah State not far behind that. Not far above that, I should say, at predicted wins of 4.5, joining San Diego State and Nevada. Air Force and Wyoming just ahead of them at 5.5. But, it's a lot of teams in the middle there. Not expected to see very many teams out of the Mountain West at bowl eligible, but several teams kind of struggling. And there's a lot of new coaches in the Mountain West. So how well will they do in getting their teams going and starting to separate themselves in a field of uncertainty for the Mountain West this year? And Utah State football adding another defensive lineman and a wide receiver, at least making that official today. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Thanks to the text line for letting us know about it yesterday. But the Aggies making it official with Carlos Ore Gillespie, the 6'3", 200-pound wide receiver. And then USU football making it official today. Nu'uletau Salison, defensive lineman, who's a BYU transfer, 6'1", 285 pounds. Today, the NBA released its all rookie teams, and Stefan Castle, he was a unanimous selection, the only unanimous selection for the first team. And joined on the first team by Zachary Rissachet, Jalen Wells, Zach Edey from Memphis, and then Washington's Alex Sarr. I mean, not too surprising who ended up on that first team. But then the second team from Miami, Kel'el Ware, Chicago's Matas Buzelis, New Orleans, Yves Missy, Portland's Donovan Clingan, and then Washington's Bub Carrington. And the thing is, Utah's Isaiah Collier, he was 1 point away from tying Carrington for that final spot on the second team. And here's the thing with Collier. He has, he broke John Stockton's rookie record. Certainly that has meaning here in Utah, but maybe not to the NBA at large. But here's other things that maybe he should have been more known for. He had more assists as a rookie than John Morant did when he had as a rookie. He had more assists this season than Stephen Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, or Jason Tatum. So this was a guy who was a great facilitator, but certainly not quite the level of scorer, maybe not quite the level of defender. It's hard to get noticed when your team loses as many as you did. But Washington, the Wizards, they got a player on the first team and the second team, and Utah didn't get anybody on there, no recognition. Now, Kyle Filipowski, he did get some votes. He did receive votes. I'm not exactly sure how many, but he did receive some. Not close enough to make it on the first or second team. But Collier, 1 vote away from being tied to make it on the second team. Was that a robbery of justice there for Isaiah Collier? Should he have been recognized as a second team All-NBA guy, joining his teammate Keontae George, who made that same list last year? Or was this okay? Was this right that he was left off? He was a great facilitator. He was somebody who definitely improved his game as the season went on. But he did struggle to score. He did struggle with his offense. His outside shooting improved some as the season went on, but it was kind of an ongoing struggle for him. If he couldn't get downhill, then he got a little bit stymied. So he's young. He's got some things he needs to work on and improve at the NBA level. But I really liked how he played and how he handled things. And he was not, there was a lot of uncertainty how much he'd even play at the start of the year. But because Keontae George was handling the point guard duties. But slowly but surely over the course of the season, Collier was doing well. He took the point guard position seriously, was doing the things that the Jazz coaches wanted him to do, and continued to improve as a facilitator and as an initiator of the offense, and then became the starting point guard for the Utah Jazz. And the team did function better with him running point. So I'm a little sad that he didn't get that honor, that recognition. But I can also see why he may have been just barely left out. He did accomplish some great things, set some new records for the Utah Jazz. But at the end of the day, you got to do more than just one thing really well to be recognized on those lists. And hopefully this serves as fuel and motivation for him to continue to improve his offensive game to get some further and deeper more broad recognition by the NBA for what he's doing. But he's showing some upside and some improvement, but not quite there yet, which is you look at different mock drafts that are out there and people trying to predict what the Jazz need. The point guard position seems to be one that continues to creep up and be discussed as an area of focus for the Utah Jazz in this offseason, either via the draft or in free agency or in trades. So it puts a little bit of pressure on Isaiah Collier to get things figured out and improve as a player so that he's not part of those discussions and they can have their focus elsewhere on the court, though they can still use some depth at that position anyway. Let's before we take another quick timeout here on the Full Court Press, another live look in what's going on in the 4A boys soccer semifinals, Ridgeline versus Dixie. Dixie has all season been a great team with getting the ball in the net and with 71 goals scored, only giving up 19. Ridgeline with only 57 goals scored on the season, but giving up only 15. So could be a real defensive battle between these two teams being played down at Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman. Jason Walker on the call on 104.5 The Ranch.
And moving the ball to the far sideline, trying to go left to right here. Oh, for the moment, going side to side. Now finally getting the ball to midfield, working it around their midfield. Several players getting a touch here. Now a long switching cross, high in the air, trying to get to the near sideline here. And not a great touch, and this turf just takes a hold of that ball, sends it over the sideline. Kind of a long.
All right, so it looks like the game continues, and we're probably getting pretty close here to approaching halftime in this matchup. So if you want to tune in and check in what's going on with the Ridgeline Riverhawks this afternoon in the 4A boys soccer semifinals, you can find it on 104.5 The Ranch, and also details on how to listen on CashValleyDaily.com. Quick timeout. We'll be right back with some other thoughts about the NBA Conference Finals. Your thoughts, your predictions as these conference finals get underway. And then I don't have a stat that blows my mind, but I do want to highlight a specific player this week. So that's next here on the Full Court Press.
The chips and drinks are endless. The burrito is huge for only $7.95. It's got to be Cafe Sabor, Cache Valley's best Mexican restaurant and gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Experience Locals Day every Thursday with a huge burrito, endless chips and soda, only $7.95. Finding any lunch under $10 is nearly impossible. Every Thursday, drinks, chips, and a massive burrito. You pay just $7.95. The food, the fun at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station on 6th West and Center in Logan.
Rely now on a York Affinity Premium Comfort System to keep your home cool and comfortable. The new Affinity systems are smarter and more connected and more efficient than ever before. And you can cut your energy costs by as much as 50%. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, to schedule a free system evaluation. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning showroom is west of DI and online at advancedheating-ac.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Are you looking for compassionate and reliable care for yourself or a loved one? Look no further than Aegis Home Health and Hospice. I'm Tom Sherlock, a licensed social worker, part of the dedicated team of professionals committed to meeting the needs of our community. Voted best in Northern Utah 2 years in a row, we pride ourselves on delivering exceptional service that you can depend on. We're here to ensure comfort and dignity every step of the way. When it comes to your health, choose the agency that Northern Utah trusts the most. Choose Aegis. Visit myaegis.com or call today 435-723-9000.
Honey, the garage door won't close again.
It's the sun hitting the sensors. I just fixed this.
Toilet paper rolls are not a fix. Is there something we can do?
Actually, yeah. Advanced Garage Door has these new sunshades that block direct light from the garage door sensors. Let me give Mason a call.
Is your garage door not closing? We can fix that. Call Advanced Garage Door at 435-255-6725. That's 435-255-6725. Or visit us at advancedgaragedoors.com.
When grid failures and severe weather cause power outages, your business might take a hit, or at home, you could lose your refrigerated food storage. Generac Standby Power Solutions help ensure an uninterrupted power supply. Generac is the #1 brand of standby generators. Get yours today from Golden Spike Electric, your trusted source for safety and security. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gscgenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
Ah, the t-shirt. It's the unofficial clothing of summer. We all have a favorite t-shirt. The Logo Shop has custom screen printed over 1 million t-shirts for teams, clubs, businesses, family reunions, fundraisers, marathons, bike races. One-of-a-kind designs with creative graphics, even funny phrases. Whether you need a couple dozen or a couple thousand, the team at the Logo Shop will help with your one-of-a-kind design. From concept to creation. Order your custom t-shirts from the Logo Shop.
The Logo Shop.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Well, if you need new spark plugs or filters, you can find them at your locally owned Napa. They've got them to fit your car, your trucks, your lawnmowers, four-wheelers, motorcycles, all your powered toys. And if you want it ready for you when you come in, you can buy it online and then pick it up in store. Just go to napaonline.com, courtesy of your locally owned Preston and Providence Napa Auto Parts. No score, and we're down to the closing minutes here of the first half. Just quickly, a quick check-in with Jason Walker as his first half is about to conclude.
But here we go. Ridgeline with the low-driven kick, nearly causing some chaos, but Randolph managing to get his mitts on it. 30 seconds left to play in this half as we remain scoreless. And we'll likely go into halftime that way. But Ridgeline dribbling the ball into the attack. One last attempt here. It'll go a bit too long. There's Randolph again coming off his line. Scoop that one up and keep it away from Connor. Under 10 seconds to play. And the ball cleared high up in the air. And that will do it for our first half here at Zions Bank Stadium. The Ridgeline Riverhawks 0, the Dixie Flyers 0, as both these high-scoring teams have showcased their defense.
So, yeah, exciting first half. No scoring, but definitely exciting back and forth. And that's gone full broadcast on 104.5 The Ranch. Details also available on CashValleyDaily.com if you want to listen in that audio-only broadcast of that 4A semifinal game. Quickly, the NBA Conference Finals begin tonight, 6:30 on ESPN. Timberwolves at Thunder. Oklahoma City favored by 6.5 in this one. They just went 7 in a 7-game series. Timberwolves didn't have to go that far in theirs. They had a little extra rest. However, Oklahoma City didn't have to travel between Game 7 and Game 1. But Thunder definitely younger, can handle quicker turnarounds easier. So Timberwolves maybe a little bit more rested coming into this one. I'm really excited for this, to see this matchup. And I think that Minnesota is a little bit more versatile than Denver was. And we know the depth and athleticism for Oklahoma City. I think this should be a pretty exciting series for the Western Conference. And then lastly, on Tuesdays, we usually do a shout out to a player of the week and share a stat that blew our minds. I'm not going to get into a stat today, but I did want to spend the time giving yet another shout out to Logan Hammer, Utah State pole vaulter at the Mountain West track and field, outdoor track and field championships. Broke his own record and won the pole vault at 5.65 meters. That is his 5th Mountain West title so far. Across the country, there have been 5 people who have crested that line at 5.65 meters. It's happened 5 times. Logan Hammer has done it 4 of those 5 times. So just an incredible athlete. And I think that's somebody we're probably going to be seeing in the Olympics before too long. And probably, in Los Angeles. We'll see if that is when we will see him support the red, white, and blue for Team USA. That's going to do it for us tonight. And Dan Patrick coming up next.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Analytics have changed the NFL. Front office is smarter, more calculated, and more risk adverse. When it comes to roster construction, the league has followed a predictable blueprint. Build the trenches, land your quarterback, and prioritize wide receivers. Every other position, devalued, dismissed, or labeled replaceable. And maybe that's where the math gets it wrong. Take a look around the league at some of the NFL's best. Lions just won 15 games with a core that includes high-impact safety, linebackers, a dynamic tight end, and one of the most productive running back tandems in football. The Eagles spent big on Saquon Barkley, invested in tight ends like Dallas Goedert, even took a linebacker, Jahad Campbell, in the first round. And the 49ers, they built their success on names like George Kittle, Fred Warner, and Christian McCaffrey. The point is simple. Great players win games. Whether it's a guard or a safety or a running back, the position doesn't matter nearly as much as the production. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.